Hello my fellow chef knives enthusiasts. Today I want to show you my new Japanese whetstones real quick. These are the Naniwa Chosera round whetstones. Naniwa is a Japanese manufacturer of sharpening stones for industrial and home use. When we're talking about cutting edge technology, Naniwa means it literally. It's a company with 60 years of experience. They don't like to sit still, constantly looking to developing new products and upgrading their old favorites. In general, Naniwa products are loved and praised by all of us in the knife community. Definitely anyone who has freehand sharpened knives on Naniwa stones usually is very happy. I already have a few Naniwa stones. I have a small flattening stone. I have a Pro Stone 220 grit, which I've never used before. I wanted to have a 220 grit stone in case I would ever chip a knife or something worse. I'm actually pretty happy that I never had to use this 220 grit before. Then I have a Pro Stone 800 grit. I have the Green Brick of Joy, the 2K stone, which is a really nice stone. Then I have a 3K Pro Stone and I have the 8K Snow White. And I really like that. But many times I was really close to buying the Kudo Chosera stones. The Naniwa Chosera stones are the previous edition of the Naniwa Pro stones. I've watched so many YouTube sharpening videos with people telling me how good these Chosera stones are, so I was always interested in them. They're pretty expensive, or more expensive than the new Pro stones, so never pulled the trigger on them. But a year or two ago, I found out about these round Chosera stones. And I was like, why buy the Chosera stones on those plastic bases if you can buy these huge and thick round Chosera stones? These Naniwa Chosera round Pro stones are not just huge in surface with its 22 centimeter diameter, but also thick with a 27 millimeter thickness. Now that's a lot of Chosera stone right there. For not much more money than the regular Chosera stones. So much more bang for your buck, I guess. But why would you buy these huge round Chosera stones in the first place? I know they sell round sharpening stones for sharpening axes, but I never saw them for chef knives before I bumped into these Naniwas. Our beloved knife godmother Tara Ransfer, owner of Perfect Edge Cutlery, told me she was carrying these Naniwa round sharpening stones for 10 years. Nobody understood them. These stones are not meant to be mounted on a turning wheel. I could put it on a record player and start scratching. I definitely don't want to scratch my knives, but it kind of looks awesome though. Naniwa advertises these large round sharpening stones as highly suitable for long knives and sobakiri knives, because of the stone's round shape and large surface. That kinda makes sense, since I have a few longer blades in my collection. Did anyone say Unreal Mega Long Nakiri? I was intrigued by these stones to say the least and wanted to try them out ever since I found out about their existence. When I saw that there was a nice discount on the Knives and Tools website, I immediately pulled the trigger. I bought the 1K and 3K. The 320 is sold out already. I really wanted to get that one too, since the regular Naniwa Chosera stones don't even come in 320 grit. In fact, there are no other Naniwa stone series that come in 320 grit. Only these round stones come in 320 grit. I also got the stone holder for these round stones. This Naniwa rubber sharpening stone holder is suited for round sharpening stones of 220 millimeter in diameter, which conveniently is the diameter of these Naniwa Chosera round stones. The non-slip rubber ensures your sharpening stone stays in place during use. This makes sharpening safer, of course, as there is no chance of slipping. But these stones are actually so heavy by itself, they probably would stay on their place by itself. The Naniwa Chosera stones are splash and go stones, so are these Naniwa round Chosera stones. I do have to say that when I soak them for maybe a minute or so, they do seem to make a slurry faster, but the difference is marginal. Chosera stones are bound with magnesium. This means they have more cutting particles per unit of surface than resin-bound stones. It does make these stones much more sensitive to prolonged exposure to water, so make sure you don't soak these Naniwa Chosera stones in water for a prolonged period of time. Just pouring some water on the stone surface or a brief dip in water will do just fine. They do not need to be soaked. And whatever you do after sharpening, don't leave these stones wet. Dry them off with a towel and put them somewhere where they can air dry further until properly dried. Otherwise, the stones can develop hairline cracks or the binding material can be leached out of the stone. Some people who left their Chosera stones in water, got their stones cracked. Keep them away from extremes of temperature as well. Do not dry these with a hairdryer, for example. Just let them air dry and generally look after them. That's where the round rubber stone holders come in handy as well. Since the stones don't make contact with the surface underneath, letting these stones dry in the stone holders probably will be no problem, but I still prefer to put them in my rack, just to be sure. Considering the size of these stones, you do have to commit a little bit of space for storing these stones dry. I have my stones neatly organized using these $4 plate racks from IKEA. Next to looking like a really nice setup, it also makes sure my stones can dry nice and evenly without me needing to worry about them to crack or whatnot. So I would advise you to find a way to let these stones dry standing up like mine and you're good. I'm not going to do a whole sharpening video with these stones. I frankly don't have the time for that right now. I just wanted to show you these stones and share my first thoughts about them. I only had a few sharpening, stropping sessions with these stones and I'm pretty happy with them in general. They give good feedback, feel really nice and smooth, make a great sound and build up a slurry pretty easily. Sharpen pretty quickly, they cut pretty fast. They leave a very smooth blade surface, very even scratch pattern and hardly any stray scratches at all. Sometimes the handle of my knives get a bit in the way and I can also imagine this could be troublesome for knives with bolsters, which I don't have. I'm a wah handle guy, but other than that, I must say I'm really having fun on these stones, especially when sharpening my longer blades. The large surface just gives me a lot more stability moving the blade over the stone. This makes it easier to keep the angle right and straight and just gives me a little bit more confidence when I need to sharpen my longer blades. So perhaps watching this video and me talking about my experience with these Chosera round stones will help you see and understand why these stones are pretty awesome. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a better idea about these Naniwa Chosera round sharpening stones. I have a few Sharpening glass stones too, which are great, but for freehand sharpening, it's tough to beat a Chosera.